In May 2024, a Waymo Robotaxi in San Francisco drove directly into oncoming traffic, paused in confusion for 40 seconds, then slowly reversed into a parked car. Nobody was seriously hurt. But here is the part the company did not broadcast. That same vehicle had passed thousands of miles of internal safety benchmarks just weeks earlier. It had scored near perfect on every test Waymo's engineers designed to prove it was ready. The car was not malfunctioning. It was doing exactly what its training told it to do. That is the problem. The autonomous vehicle industry has spent over $200 billion across 2 decades promising that self-driving cars were always 3 to 5 years away. As of 2026, Waymo operates about 1,000 Robotaxis in 3 American cities. Tesla's full self-driving software has been sold to over 2 million drivers, who are legally required to supervise it at all times. General Motors killed its Cruise Robotaxi program entirely after one of its vehicles dragged a pedestrian 20 feet along a San Francisco street, and the company concealed footage from regulators. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has logged over 2,000 crashes involving vehicles using some form of automated driving assistance since 2021. The industry keeps moving forward, and the core problem that causes these crashes remains, by and large, unsolved. Not unknown, unsolved. To understand why, you need to go back to how autonomous driving was supposed to work. The original vision, dominant through the 2010s, was called rules-based programming. Engineers would write explicit instructions for every scenario a car might encounter. If the light is red, stop. If the lane is clear and speed is under 65, merge. It was logical and auditable. You could read the code and understand the decision. The problem was reality. The real world does not come in innumerable scenarios. A child's ball rolls into the street, and a child might follow. A plastic bag blows across a highway and looks briefly identical to a sensor as a cardboard box. Emergency vehicles approach from behind, while a construction barrier forces a lane closure ahead. The combinations are essentially infinite. Engineers call this the long tail of edge cases, and it is the graveyard of rules-based autonomy. So the industry pivoted hard toward machine learning. Instead of writing rules, you feed the car billions of miles of real and simulated driving data and let the neural network learn patterns itself. That pivot solved the easy 95%. The remaining 5% turned out to be almost everything that actually matters. Here is what almost no one outside the engineering community fully appreciates. Machine learning systems do not understand the world. They recognize patterns and data. That distinction sounds academic. It is not. When a Waymo vehicle successfully navigates a busy intersection, it is not reasoning about traffic law or physics or human intention. It is recognizing a pixel pattern it has seen enough times to associate with the correct action. The moment the pattern shifts, the model is operating in territory it has never truly seen before. Engineers at Comma.ai, one of the more transparent companies in this space, have published work showing that their models can fail catastrophically on roads that differ in lane marking color from their training data. Not a different country, not unusual weather. Different paint. This is not a fringe finding. Researchers at MIT's Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory demonstrated in 2023 that adding carefully designed stickers to stop signs, invisible to human eyes but algorithmically meaningful, caused their test vehicles to fail to recognize the sign at all. The car sees everything and understands nothing. The assumption most people carry about self-driving cars is that they are simply better, faster humans. Better reaction time, never distracted, never drunk. That framing is exactly backward, and it explains why the industry's safety statistics are so consistently misleading. Waymo regularly publishes data showing its vehicles have fewer crashes per mile than average human drivers. That is true. It is also comparing the wrong things. Waymo operates almost exclusively in mapped, pre-cleared geofenced zones in Phoenix, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. Its vehicles drive in perfect weather on well-marked roads, in conditions that have been exhaustively surveilled and prepared in advance. When researchers at the RAND Corporation modeled what it would actually take to statistically prove autonomous vehicles are safer than humans in general conditions, not cherry-picked geofences, they calculated you would need vehicles to drive approximately 11 billion miles without a fatality-level incident. As of 2026, the entire autonomous vehicle industry combined has logged roughly 100 million miles. That is not 99% of the way there. That is less than 1%. The industry is not hiding a solved problem. It is selling confidence it has not yet earned. The mechanism that makes this genuinely hard comes down to what engineers call the prediction problem. Every driving decision is actually a prediction about what other agents, humans, animals, other vehicles, will do next. When you slow down because a car is merging on your left, you are not reacting to what happened. You are predicting the next 2 seconds and acting in advance. Human brains do this using something closer to theory of mind. We model the intentions of other drivers. We read a hand gesture, a moment of eye contact, the slight forward lean of a cyclist about to push off. Autonomous vehicles do none of this. They treat every other object in the environment as a physics problem. Current velocity, current trajectory, projected position in 3 seconds. That works well when everyone follows predictable patterns. It breaks down at the precise moments when crashes happen, when someone does something unexpected. Think of it like the difference between predicting where a bowling ball will roll versus where a startled person will run. One obeys simple physics. The other requires modeling fear, instinct, and intention. Current autonomous systems are excellent at bowling balls and genuinely terrible at frightened people. The complications run deeper than the technology. When Cruise concealed dashcam footage after its pedestrian dragging incident in October 2023, California regulators suspended its operating license within weeks. That decision killed the entire Cruise Robotaxi program. General Motors wrote down over $5 billion in autonomous vehicle losses. The regulatory environment is now fractured. Arizona allows nearly anything. California requires incident reporting that companies in Texas face no obligation to provide. The result is a quiet migration of autonomous vehicle testing toward states with weaker oversight, meaning the public data on how these systems actually perform is incomplete almost by design. There is also the liability vacuum. When a Tesla on full self-driving kills someone, the company's legal position is that the driver was responsible for supervision. Courts are only beginning to test whether that holds. In 2025, a California jury awarded $11 million to the family of a victim struck by a Tesla in autopilot mode. Tesla is appealing. The legal framework for a world of autonomous vehicles does not yet exist. This affects your life more directly than most people realize. If you drive for a living, the timeline you should watch is not when full autonomy arrives, but when partial autonomy becomes liability. Trucking companies are already deploying Level 2 and Level 3 systems on long-haul routes, which means human drivers are increasingly supervisors of machines rather than operators of vehicles. That shift is already changing how drivers are trained, insured, and hired. If you own a vehicle purchased after 2023 with any driver assistance features, your insurance company is already collecting data on how you supervise it. By 2028, industry analysts at Wood Mackenzie project that 20% of auto insurance underwriting in the United States will factor in driver assistance usage patterns. And if you live in Phoenix or San Francisco, you have already seen the early version of a city adapting around Robotaxi behavior, slower intersections, new signage, blocked bike lanes. The transition is not coming. It has started. The honest version of where this goes is more interesting